Welcome back to the whiteboard. We are going to talk about the main story of the week, which is Iowa State's offense didn't do as well as everyone was expecting them to do. And whenever that happens, you think, well, it's the quarterback's fault, it's the offensive line's fault, it's the coordinator's fault. What if I told you it was kind of all of the above? Well, there's also the fact that we have to layer in that Jyrel Brock, the starting running back, was injured. The backup, Cartavius Norton, also injured. So we're going down to our third string running back, who was pretty inexperienced and is really talented with the ball in his hand, but is still trying to pick up the nuances of everything else that goes with being a part of playing running back at a high level. Part of that, pass protection. Okay, so before we start getting into pass protection, Iowa State was sacked 5 times on Saturday. I would say 4 of them were not the offensive line's fault. One of them, they just got beat. That's an offensive line sack. This one is not one of those plays. Okay, so let's first understand what is the quarterback seeing, because it's really important for what happens later in the game where he starts bringing a little bit of pressure on himself by taking his eyes off where he should. Okay, so what does a quarterback have a responsibility of on any given play? The football is the most important thing. As a quarterback, you are facilitating the football to somebody else. So your job is to protect yourself so you can get the ball to someone else. What that means is I have to understand my protection, and then I'm going to trust that my guys are going to do that so I can look at the coverage and keep my eyes away from the protection so I'm looking downfield. So before the snap happens, I know that I've got 5 guys plus a running back in this particular play. I've got 6 potential blockers. So if 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive linemen and or 1, 2, 3, 2 of those guys comes, so that'd be 6 out of their 7 that are in a potential blitzing position. If 6 of those guys come, I'm safe, because these guys are going to sort it out. I know roughly where they're going to go. If 7 for some reason come, I got to get rid of the ball pretty quickly. But if 6 come, I'm protected. Now, for a running back, what is his responsibility? So probably, if he's on this side of the protection, that means this side is the man side. What that means is I'm going to block a specific person unless some kind of unique situations arise. Over here, they're going to block some type of zone. So that means I'm going to pass somebody off to my side. Okay, so this is probably how we're expecting this to be blocked, is that these 3 guys are going to take these 3 guys, and then these 2 guys are going to get picked up by the offensive line. Because if we do this, then that means every one of our rushers is taken by an offensive lineman. We're all good. If another guy comes, then at that point, we'll bring our running back in to take it. Okay, so now that we've got most of the protection laid out, let's do one little thought experiment. Deon Silas is 5'7", about 180 pounds. Trevor Downing, 6'3", 320 pounds. Which is probably the better blocker? Trevor Downing, right? So remember I said one maybe sort of crazy circumstance happens? If there's 2 blitzers that come in roughly the same area, the first one is the more immediate threat, because the ball should probably be out by the time the second guy gets there. So let's put the more immediate threat on the big guy and let the second guy take the lesser threat. Okay, so if we have crossers, we're going to amend our rules just a little bit. That's a little nuance that comes with understanding with playing. Okay, so that situation presents itself. So we've got 6 guys coming. This is going to be a cross, and this is going to be a cross. In normal rules, Deon Silas is watching that guy. That's who his responsibility is. So his eyes lock in on the person that he's coming with, because as a young guy, you're just thinking about one thing. So I'm blocking that guy. But Trevor Downing knows the real rules that Jyrel Brock would be occupying, because he's played a lot, is the first and immediate threat on a crosser is pass it off to the center. I'm going to take the second guy. So really, it should go Downing, running back. That doesn't happen. And so Deon Silas takes the first guy. Trevor Downing takes the first guy. Who takes the second guy? Hunter Deckers. Okay, we got ourselves an unblocked defender straight through because we have a miscommunication. All right, so get that out of the way. Now, 13 minutes and 52 seconds left to play in the 4th quarter. Iowa State is down. They've already thrown probably 30 pass attempts by this point, and Hunter Deckers has already been sacked 3 times and hit several other times. He's already thrown an interception. We're getting frustrated. We're not understanding our protections because I'm not protected. I should be protected by other situations, but I'm not. So instead of looking at the coverage, I'm now looking down at somebody here. Now, it's easy to say. It's harder to show when that actually happens. Okay, so this play is what should be an easy read. If Deckers is comfortable and calm and knows he's protected, he's looking at the protection, he's looking at the coverage. His first shot is probably down the field to Xavier Hutchinson or Dimitri Stanley. If that's not there because they have a really deep safety, which they did on this play, my eyes come down to somebody else. They're running a flare by the running back, and they're running a slant or a kind of a glance route right behind it. So if you're Hunter Deckers, what are you looking at? You're looking at this guy. What you should be looking at is that guy. If he follows the running back, I'm going to zip that ball right in behind him, quick in rhythm first down. If I'm not feeling comfortable, what do? Not that. This is an open completed receiver. What is he looking at? Not the coverage. He's looking at this guy. Because what happened is he doesn't feel comfortable in his protections. He can't look down the field. He's now starting to look down at his rushers. He's looking at a guy who's unblocked in front of him who's 5 yards away. So what should be a nice, easy completion, offensive line didn't do a perfect job, but they did good enough to get him getting rid of the ball, turns into another sack. So Iowa State has had 2 sacks that we've shown, plus a couple others, some of which the offensive line fault, some of which is going to be the quarterback's fault, some of which is going to be the running back's fault. Now we're getting into crunch time. There's 6 minutes to play. It's 2nd and 9. They need a completion. But at this point, again, there's interceptions, there's 4 sacks, there's not being able to complete passes. Everything's being taken away that you want to do, and you're frustrated, and now you just want to make a play. Let's take 1 second back and think about what the offensive line is thinking. If you are trying to get to a person behind me, I'm going to do my best to just stand in between you and me, right? But I can't see this person. I just got to trust that they're where I think they are. If they're over there, then you have a straight line to them around me. I'm not doing anything. So an offensive lineman has to trust that the quarterback is going to be in the pocket. So why do you watch like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and those guys who are excellent in the pocket? They stay there because their offensive linemen are protecting where they think that the quarterback is. But again, we're frustrated. Stuff hasn't gone our way. We've been hit a lot. We've been intercepted. It's not going what we want to. Okay, a comfortable quarterback right now. This rush is getting blown by. Hufford's actually doing a decent job. There's a guy who's twisting, and I'm just going to take him where he wants to go. So what should happen is Deckers slides and stops. He's going to slide to a position where we're getting this guy washed, we're getting that guy washed, and we're nice and comfortable in the middle of the pocket. Again, it happens when we're comfortable. It doesn't when we're not. So what does he do? He runs right through that stop sign, gets out of the pocket, blows up the angle that his center has, and takes another sack. That looks like the offensive line's doing a poor job, and it wasn't great. But it's also not all on the offensive line. Quarterbacks got to do a little bit better. So Iowa State has a lot to improve upon. Running back, quarterback, wide receivers, offensive line. It's not just on one group. They should be able to do that, but Kansas State's a great defense. We'll have more on Cyhawk Game Day.